Every single morning, before you wake up, before your alarm goes off, before you make your first cup of coffee, something is already happening in your yard. Right now, this morning, and every morning this summer, the birds in your neighborhood are making a decision. They wake before sunrise, they feel the air, they read the light, and then they begin moving from yard to yard, from tree to tree, checking something specific, something they need, something they have been waiting for since before the sun came up. And here is the part that most people never realize. Whether your birds stay in your yard this morning or quietly leave without you ever noticing comes down to one thing, one single thing that either is there or isn't. And in most American backyards this summer, it isn't there. Not because people don't care about birds, but because nobody ever told them what birds are actually waiting for every single morning. By the time this video ends, you will know exactly what that thing is. You will understand why birds leave when it's missing, and you will never look at your yard on a summer morning the same way again. If you have birds in your yard and you want to keep them there, hit that like button right now and subscribe with the bell, because what comes next completely changes your summer mornings. Let me paint you a picture. It is 5:47 in the morning. The sky is just beginning to change color. The air is already warm. A small robin lands on the fence at the edge of your yard. It sits completely still for a moment, head tilting slightly, eyes scanning. It isn't looking for food. It isn't checking for predators. It is looking for one specific thing. It hops forward, looks again, and then quietly lifts off. Gone. 3 houses down, it finds what it was looking for, and it stays there all morning. This exact scene plays out in neighborhoods across America every single summer morning. Birds arriving at yards, checking for something specific, and leaving when it isn't there. Most homeowners never see this happen. They step outside at 8 or 9 in the morning, wonder why no birds are visiting, refill the feeder, and assume birds will come eventually. But by that point, the birds in your neighborhood have already made their decisions for the day, and your yard didn't make the cut. So what exactly are birds looking for in those first early morning hours of summer? The answer is simpler than most people expect, and more important than almost anyone realizes. Water. Not food, not shelter, not a specific type of feeder or seed. Fresh, cool water, available and ready in the earliest hours of the summer morning. Now, before you think I already have a bird bath, stay with me, because having a bird bath and having what birds are actually waiting for are two very different things. Here's what most people don't know about birds. A bird's body temperature runs between 104 and 108 degrees Fahrenheit on a completely normal day. That is their baseline, their everyday operating temperature. Now think about what happens on a summer morning when the air temperature is already climbing toward 85 or 90 degrees before 8 a.m. Birds have no sweat glands, not a single one. The only ways a bird can regulate its body temperature is panting rapidly through an open beak, finding deep layered shade, and bathing in water cool enough to actually lower body temperature. That third option is the most effective one, by far. When a bird bathes in genuinely cool fresh water and then sits in shade while its feathers dry, the evaporation of that water from its feathers drops its body temperature more efficiently than panting alone ever could. Scientists studying urban bird behavior during summer heat events documented birds returning to the same water source 6, 7, sometimes 8 times in a single morning, not to drink, to bathe, to cool down, to survive. That is what birds are waiting for every summer morning. Not just any water, cool, fresh water, available early before the heat of the day makes everything warm. And here is where it gets deeply personal, because there is something specific that happens to the water in your bird bath on a summer morning that most bird owners have never been told about. Think about your bird bath right now. When did you last change the water? Not top it off, not glance at it from the window. Actually empty it, rinse it, and fill it with completely fresh, cool water. If the answer is yesterday, or the day before, or sometime last week, here's what's been happening to that water. On a summer day with temperatures in the 90s, bird bath water sitting in direct or partial sun can reach temperatures between 100 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit within just a few hours. Let that land for a moment. 120 degrees in your bird bath. A bird that flies across your neighborhood in summer heat, burning precious body energy, arrives at your bird bath expecting relief and finds water that is hotter than the air around it. That bird does not stay. It cannot stay. The water offers nothing it needs. And here's what makes this even more important. Birds remember. Not in the way humans remember addresses or directions, but through deep survival memory. Birds remember which locations provided what they needed and which locations disappointed them. A bird that arrives at your bird bath 3 mornings in a row and finds warm, stale water or an empty basin stops adding your yard to its morning route, quietly, without drama, without any signal you would notice. It simply stops coming. But here's what makes this story different. Because the solution to this is almost shockingly simple, and once you hear it, you will wonder why nobody told you sooner. Every morning, before 8 a.m., empty your bird bath completely. Give it a quick rinse, and fill it with fresh, cool water. That is it. That is what your birds have been waiting for every single summer morning. But let me explain why the timing matters so much. Because this isn't just about having water available. It is about having the right water at the right temperature at the exact time birds need it most. Birds are most active in the early morning hours. Between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. on summer days, more bird activity happens than at any other time. This is when they're feeding. This is when they're bathing. This is when they're making decisions about which yards are worth returning to. When you change the water before 8 a.m., you are providing the coolest water your birds will encounter all day. Water that, when a bird bathes in it, actually works, actually cools, actually gives them what their body is asking for. Researchers studying residential bird behavior found something remarkable. Yards that consistently offered fresh water in the early morning hours during summer heat attracted significantly more bird species and significantly more return visits than yards with feeders and bird baths that weren't regularly refreshed. Not yards with expensive equipment, not yards with rare native plants, not yards that did anything complicated or costly, just yards with fresh, cool water waiting every morning before the heat arrived. 2 minutes, every morning, before 8 a.m. That single habit is the difference between a yard birds leave and a yard birds choose to come back to every single day of summer. But there are 2 more pieces to this that work together with the morning water change to create something researchers call a loyalty pattern, where birds don't just visit your yard, they prioritize it. They return to it first before trying anywhere else. When a bird finds everything it needs in one place, its behavior changes. Instead of moving through multiple yards each morning, checking and assessing, it begins returning to the reliable yard first, the yard that always has what it needs, the yard that never disappoints. Scientists call this site fidelity, the tendency of birds to return repeatedly to locations that have proven reliable. And once a bird develops site fidelity to your yard, it begins doing something even more remarkable. It communicates that reliability to other birds through presence, through behavior, through the simple act of being seen there again and again by other birds passing through. Your yard becomes a signal, a living advertisement that says to every bird with an eyesight, this place is worth your time. This place delivers. But the fresh water is only the foundation. The 2 things that work alongside it to create true bird loyalty are shade and consistent food. Shade matters more in summer than any other season. Not decorative plants, not open lawn with one small tree. Dense, layered shade. Low shrubs where the ground stays cool, mid-level branches that create real canopy. A bird that bathes in your fresh, cool water and then has access to dense, nearby shade where it can sit while its feathers dry and cool its body has found something genuinely rare in a modern American yard, and it will not easily give that up. The 3rd piece is consistent food. Many people stop filling feeders in summer believing natural food sources are sufficient, but a bird burning extra calories through summer heat stress needs more energy than usual, not less. High-energy food available consistently, combined with fresh morning water and good shade, creates a yard that birds return to not just occasionally, but every single morning like clockwork. Fresh water before 8 a.m., dense layered shade nearby, consistent food through summer. 3 simple things that cost almost nothing, that take less than 5 minutes of your morning, and that create a yard birds have been waiting for. I want to tell you something about summer mornings that most people miss completely. There is a window, a small, quiet window of time between when the birds wake up and when the world gets loud. Before the lawnmowers start, before the traffic builds, before the noise of the day drowns everything out. In that window, if your yard has what birds have been waiting for, something happens that is genuinely difficult to describe. Birds arrive, one at a time at first, then more. The robin that checks your bird bath every morning, the pair of cardinals that always come together, the small sparrows that move through like a wave. And your yard, which just minutes ago was completely still, becomes alive. Not because you did something complicated, not because you spent money on elaborate equipment, but because you did one simple thing at the right time every single morning. You gave birds what they were already waiting for. There is a particular kind of satisfaction in that, in knowing that something wild, something completely free, chose your yard, chose to return, chose to trust the space you created, not randomly, not by accident, but because morning after morning, what they needed was there. The title of this video said your birds are waiting for this every summer morning and leaving when it is not there. Now you know exactly what they are waiting for. Fresh, cool water, ready before the heat arrives, every single morning. Tomorrow morning when your alarm goes off, before the coffee, before the phone, before anything else, take 2 minutes, empty the bird bath, rinse it, fill it with fresh, cool water, and then step back and wait. Because something that has been flying past your yard, checking, hoping, waiting, is about to find exactly what it has been looking for. And this time, it is going to stay. If this video made you want to go check your bird bath right now, that feeling is exactly right. Go do it. Your birds will notice before you even come back inside. Share this with someone who has birds in their yard, because the more yards that get this right, the more birds have somewhere safe to be this summer. Like this video if it changed how you see your summer mornings. Subscribe and hit the bell, because every week we go deeper into what birds are really experiencing right outside your window. And drop a comment right now. What time do you usually step outside in the morning? And have you ever caught birds already waiting in your yard? I read every single comment, and your answer genuinely matters to this community.